You can't escape this ape. Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So, that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Primate. And right off the bat, this is not a donation reward for anyone. This is a movie I just decided I wanted to do. This just came out to digital, and it's a movie that I wanted to originally see in theaters. I think it might still be in theaters, but I just have not ended up getting the opportunity to. And so I decided, when this came to digital, I'm going to get to it like right away. I want to see this, and why not have it as a reaction? So all I know about this movie is that it is a movie about a chimp. I believe it's a chimp. And it is a horror movie about a chimp. And I don't know anything beyond that. I don't know why the chimp is going to be like a horror movie villain. I don't know like what the reasoning for it. It could be a number of things. It could be just a chimp getting like angry because of like its trainers or something being like terrible people. It could be rabies. It could be a number of things. And with something like this, when you have a movie where the quote-unquote villain is an animal, it's probably also going to be giving a little bit of a message, which I don't mind. Some people find issue with that, but I don't mind because, honestly, animal rights are cool, and it's something we should think about. Like, yeah, I'm not going to say, like, put animals above humans, but we definitely need to give a good amount of focus and attention to animal rights and, not treat them like shit. Now, chimpanzees can be terrifying. They can also be super cute and nice and, like, friendly. But chimps can also be horrific killers. I have heard so many stories of, like, people who have raised chimps and like, taken care of them and all, being literally ripped to pieces. Chimps are horrifying when they go on a rampage. And so, with this being a horror film, that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting it to get very, like, aggressively violent to the point of, like, a lot of blood and gore. And a lot of, like, really intense, like, animal on human violence. I don't know what people think about this movie. I don't know if it's, like, well received. I'll have to look that up after. But I've not heard a lot of people even talking about it, if I'm being honest. It's one of those movies that seems to have flown under the radar. And I think part of the reason for that is because it released around the same time as a Sam Raimi movie. as well as Iron Lung. And those two movies have kind of been the big movies in theaters right now that people have been talking about. Because Iron Lung, obviously, because of the Markiplier connection, and just because of how fucking well it's been doing. And then, you have Send Help, because it's a Sam Raimi film that's been getting a lot of positive attention. And, positive reviews and critiques and stuff. I actually ended up seeing Send Help in theaters. Did not like it. Almost at all. The idea is there. The execution is terrible, in my eyes. I'm not going to give, any details in case you haven't seen Send Help yet, but I'll just say it feels like 3 separate movies haphazardly pasted together. That's all I'll say about it. It there's no cohesion in my eyes. And it just, again, the idea is fine. The concept of the movie is fine. It's just the execution of it. And I haven't seen Iron Lung yet. Though I can tell you right now that will be a reaction on the channel as well. But yeah, because of those movies having come out, it's like Primate just was not being given a lot of attention comparatively. So I don't know what the general consensus on this film is. I just haven't really been seeing people talking about it enough. But all of that being said, I think we should just get into this and find out for ourselves. So let's check this out and hope for the best. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. Welcome to the Afterthoughts. We'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So the first thing I wanted to look up with this movie was, did they use a real chimpanzee? Because as I was watching this movie, my first thoughts with Ben were, he doesn't look like a real chimp. There's something uncanny, something off, and I couldn't quite place it. And I was also wondering, how would they even do that for a movie like this with the kind of things they would have to have Ben do? And so, like I said, I looked it up and I found out that no real chimps were used, which is good, because that means no one is harmed. No chimps were harmed or, treated poorly or whatever. You know what I mean. But it wasn't CG. Instead, it was an actor in a suit. It was a practical suit built for this film. That's insane. That there was a movement specialist in a suit specifically built for this film that was just... that's so wild to me. That this was all practical. Because again, I noticed it didn't look real, but I didn't think it looked like CG either. That's why I was wondering. And so I definitely wanted to look it up. I wanted to see what the deal with it was. And yeah, to find out that this was practical, that's so cool. Practical effects can be so great. I'm not one of the haters of CG. I don't think CG in movies is necessarily a bad idea. And I think that it can definitely be used to do things that they couldn't or shouldn't do in real life. Animal stuff can definitely be a case of that. But the way they made this work out was so phenomenal. And I have to give massive credit to that right off the bat. Now, I wanted to look up, and I forgot to look this up in between because I was focused on that. But I also wanted to look up, real quick, give me a second, how this movie did. Because, like I said in the pre-thoughts, if you were watching on YouTube and saw that, if you weren't, what I said in the pre-thoughts was I have not heard anybody really talking about this because it was overshadowed by other films that had come out recently, such as Iron Lung, due to like just the insane popularity and success that's received, and Send Help, which is a Sam Raimi film, so that says enough. Apparently, this did very well, though. Take it with a grain of salt, form your own opinion as always, but Rotten Tomatoes apparently has it at a 79% of 187 critic reviews, with an average rating of 6.5 out of 10. The consensus reads, "That's one bad ape, and Primate is one lean, mean, effective chiller." On Metacritic, the film has a score of 59 out of 100 based on 25 critics, indicating mixed or average. So it actually seems to have gotten a better rating on Rotten Tomatoes, interestingly. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B- on an A+ to F scale. Megan Navarro of Bloody Disgusting gave the film a score of 3.5 out of 5, writing, "Primate may not ultimately impress for originality, but as an old school animal attack creature feature, it's an adrenaline rush of fun." And I do have to say that it's not super original. I talked about this with like some of the kills. The kills, like ripping the jaw off, it's not super original. We've seen it done many times before, but it was well done. It was a great practical effect, and on top of that, it's like it was more the context of things with this than with like other films that how do I put it? They have like a monster or something, or some kind of force compelling the person to rip their own jaw off. Now, while it has that score, which is also, by the way, certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is about the same, 71%. So it's pretty even. People really liked it, but it's not like the best movie ever, it seems. I want to see some critic reviews here. Kevin Mayer of the Times UK actually gave it a negative rating, 1 out of 5. And he says here, "The makers of the Hawaii set Gorefest Primate have seemingly surveyed the horror landscape and thought, you know what I really miss? Pretty girl torture." So that's all that Kevin Mayer saw the film as. Kim Newman of Empire Magazine gave it a 3 out of 4 and says, "So it's Cujo with a chimp." I made the Cujo comparison too. "And a pool instead of a dog in a car. But Primate delivers..." That's probably another reason some people don't see it as super original, because it does feel a lot like Cujo. But it delivers good sense of fun and everything. Sammy Purcell of Rough Draft Atlanta gave it a 1. "The monkey is the true calling card of Primate, which otherwise is a fairly standard slasher filled with forgettable performances, but some truly gnarly gore and practical effects." So it seems like, yeah, it seems pretty mixed. Let's check some audience reviews. Someone named Blake gave it a 3 out of 5. "I really enjoyed this movie, but honestly, it's a streaming movie." Okay. LT gave it a 2 out of 5 and just said, "Too many stupid moments." No actual, like, critique. Ben W gave it a 3.5 out of 5 and said, "Just stupid fun. I enjoyed it." Beverly gave it a 5 out of 5 and said, "The movie was great. My granddaughters were very excited to see it, and that was our movie night away from home." Okay. Grandma and granddaughters seeing a chimp horror movie. I assume adult granddaughters, but still. Lisa gave it a 3.5, says, "Had you on your seat." Shanta H gave it a 5 out of 5. "Very bloody, lots of jump scares." And so on and so forth. Now, to give my thoughts on it. This movie, to me, is, I would say, better than what the critics and the audience seems to be saying. I would personally rate it probably an 8 to 8.5 out of 10. as a fan of horror, it delivered a lot of the good horror stuff I wanted. Plus, I don't think the unoriginality aspect of it, the comparisons to Cujo or the unoriginal kills or whatnot, I don't think that was like a negative. Because it felt like it was supposed to be like that. It felt like a kind of a callback to those kind of films. Um, and that really, like, that works for me. I think it's fine. I don't need full originality because you're never going to find it. No matter what anyone tries to say, you're never going to find it. And so I'm not too worried about that. As long as it's still done well. And I think this was done well. I think it was extremely tense. I think that the effects were fantastic. I thought the acting performances were all good. I don't really think there was a bad acting performance at all. I mean, like, only a couple of them really stood out to me, but I don't think there was a bad one. On top of that, I like the representation we had with this movie, with having a deaf actor play a deaf character and utilizing the sign language as part of a way to talk to the chimp, but also as a way for this family to talk to each other, utilizing it for also communicating without making noise. Again, something that's been done before with like A Quiet Place, but it's still good to see. I just like seeing this in various things. I think the kills were good. I thought they were well done. I had no problem with any of that. Again, even with lack of originality, I still think they worked. They made sense for a chimp, horror film. I think the most gruesome was the first one at the very beginning, ripping the face off of the handler. Um, that was I think the most gruesome one, with the jaw tear being the second one, of course. There were a couple of them that weren't super gruesome and just like kind of amounted to Ben smashing someone's head or face in. Kind of a little boring. I did like the one guy, the boyfriend or whatever, like potential boyfriend, falling off the side, and ending up smashing like top of head first down onto the bottom of the cliff. Like, I think that was like well executed, especially because he was trying to push Ben off and ended up getting pushed off himself. Also, another reason why you should not have like a pool like that, like with just hanging off the edge of a cliff, basically. There was an example of that in the Ryan Johnson movie Glass Onion, and it made me very uncomfortable there too. It's like that just seems like a stupid idea for so many reasons. That just seems like a very stupid idea. And clearly in this case it was, but for, different reasons than you would automatically think. Either way. Um, I think Ben was a genuinely like frightening um primate, ape, to use for this. I think they really were successful at making Ben scary. And I think a lot of that comes down to, of course, the actor in the suit and everything. Like, just the movements were pretty much perfect. Really made this work. I genuinely thought the pacing was good. I feel like there was no wasted moment. It got things started pretty quickly. And I know there's some people who might say, oh, they spent so much time in the pool and everything. Yeah, but then you also got to see other people coming in, like the two guys. You got to see them trying to escape the pool at different points and doing different things with that. It's like, yeah, they were stuck in the pool for quite a while, sure. But there's also the fact that, like, they really couldn't safely escape, especially with, the younger sister's leg being fucked because of Ben. And so, yeah, it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. Um, and again, it's like the car scene with Cujo. It feels very reminiscent of that. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if like they intended this, but it feels like they did. Again, I can't say for sure. I don't know what was in their heads, but it feels like this was meant to be kind of a call out to like those kind of movies. And considering it's rabies as well, I mean, it probably was. And again, I think it was good. I think it was successful. I would have loved to see this in theaters like I initially wanted to, but I'm glad to have at least seen it. This isn't a movie that I think I needed to see in theaters. There are some movies where it's like, oh, I needed to see this in theaters. I'll give you a great example: The Wild Robot. When I saw The Wild Robot in theaters, I knew instant. Well, I knew instantly when I saw the first teaser trailer. It's like that is a movie that needs to be enjoyed on a big screen with surround sound, in a dark room. Just the experience. It absolutely made it better. But then there's some movies that's like, oh, I could watch this at home and it's not that big a deal. And Primate is, I think, more of the latter. I would have liked seeing this in theaters, but I can watch this at home and it's no big deal. Because I still get the excitement, I still get the intensity. Like seeing it on a big screen would have elevated it, but it wasn't necessary. Um, and so I'm fine with having waited to see this on digital with all of you guys. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed this. Again, I love the practical effects. I even if the kills weren't original, I think they were still good and frightening and well handled. So yeah. Also, there were some moments that I absolutely like saw coming, like stepping on the glass. It's like I knew it was coming, but at the same time, when it happened, when she stepped on that big shard, it's like ugh, so much ick. It's just one of those things that really bothers me because it's so real and something like I've done shit like that. I've stepped on glass. I've like yeah, it fucking hurts. It's not great. And then after the fact, you're also going to still have that pain in your foot. So walking around is going to be also a pain for that reason. And it's just like, it's one of those things that just bothers me. And then there was the table or whatever it was that was broken, the wooden table, and it was like shattered into like the sharp points. It's like I was saying, like grab that. You could use that as a weapon to stab him with. Um, and it ended up coming back in the end, with Ben falling over the side, or well, being kind of like led to fall over the side and landing in it with it impaling him. So it's like, yeah, it actually came into play because of course it did. It was an obvious setup, but I thought they were going to use it as a weapon instead of him falling on it, like break off a piece to use like to stab him with. Also, when they're like hugging after they think Ben is dead, and I'm watching the background, I'm seeing Ben move, and I'm like, it's like it's one of those moments that's like I don't know exactly why, but it's a very satisfying, exciting horror movie trope. And I think the way it was done with the camera focusing on the three of them, the daughters and their father, while he's getting up in the background, it was done so well. It was done so well. Because it's not like, oh, you kill the killer and then they pop up again and you have to shoot him in the head to take him down for good like in Scream. No, it's more of like a background thing. You're trying to focus on the happy family reuniting and celebrating that they're all alive, but then you see in the background like he's moving again, and it's just like, oh, it's so good. It's so well done. Um, yeah, I really loved this movie. I thought it was fantastic. Again, not a perfect movie. 8 to 8.5, I would say, out of 10. And that's just initial impression, keep in mind too. My thoughts could change on like watching this again, once reactions start coming in. I think I actually saw one reaction already come in like a day or two ago. Um, and so once I start seeing reactions and watching this again, hearing other people's thoughts, I might like adjust my opinion a bit. But for now, I really enjoyed this, and I really liked it, and I'm probably still going to enjoy it no matter what. This is definitely my kind of horror film. Like I like this better than a lot of the other like big popular ones of the recent, I don't know, decade even. Um, there's obviously been exceptions, but like for example, I like this obviously much more than Send Help. I didn't like Send Help. I mentioned that in the pre-thoughts, I believe. I think it was the pre-thoughts. For those who don't, who if I did say it in the pre-thoughts and those of you on Patreon didn't hear, I didn't like Send Help, the Sam Raimi movie that just came out recently. I saw it in theaters with my friend, and it's like, oh, this is not good in my opinion. I felt like it felt like three different movies haphazardly pasted together, and it just there was no cohesion. It didn't feel like a well-made movie to me. Um, but like, what was that one movie with Tony Collette in it that everybody loves that I think is super fucking overrated? Um, oh, I can't think of what it is. Hereditary. That's it. Everybody fucking loved Hereditary. I saw it with my sister. It was like I think a year or so ago. We watched it at her place and everything, on streaming, and we were both very underwhelmed by it. It's not bad. It's not a bad movie or anything, but it's super overrated in our opinion. And I think the ending like reveals for Hereditary are just like, eh. It's like that's it. That's the big reveals. But I think this movie's better than that, and I know that might be an unpopular opinion. I don't care. I say it all the time. I may have unpopular opinions, but they are my opinion, and that makes them just as valid as anyone's. I don't just follow what other people tell me to think. I form my own opinions based on my viewing experience. And if that just happens to be unpopular, who gives a shit? Me not liking a certain movie that everybody else loves doesn't hurt you in any way. Or me loving a movie that everybody else hates doesn't hurt you in any way. No reason to bitch about it. Like whatever you like, dislike whatever you dislike, form your own opinions. Don't let other people tell you how to feel about anything. Any movie, show, bit of music, game. Form your own opinions. Don't let even me sway you on anything. When I'm doing these reactions, I am just sharing my thoughts. I don't want you to agree with me. I want you to form your own opinion. If it is an agreement, cool. If you think differently, also cool. I support that. So yeah, I may be in the minority on stuff like that. But this movie was well liked, so it's like people liked it at least, even if it wasn't like the best. I guess some people didn't like it, as we saw in some of those reviews, but um, yeah, I really liked this. I thought this was a good film. And I'm glad to have seen it. I'm glad to have reacted to it. I thought this was a fun reaction, too. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of Primate? And thank you all so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.